Okay, so here is the timber hearth. Don't land on the cactus. So I wonder if the Brittle Hollow Tower is even... It looks like it's a little uncovered. So it's got to find the entrance now. This was very confusing to me the first time I played this game, and I was getting used to using the Ash Twin warp towers to move around the solar system. Because I was conditioned to believe that there was one warp tower going to each planet, except for Dark Bramble. They didn't want to do any. They didn't want anything to do with Dark Bramble, which is true. But the Brittle Hollow situation is that there's a second warp from the White Hole Station. Can we see it out there? Is that it there? No, that's just a very bright star, or a supernova, perhaps. Okay. So we just chillax right here. I think the intended path is something like you accidentally fall into the black hole at some point. You find White Hole Station. And that's the first time that you warp. Because you don't really have a choice at that point. And then later you have to learn something about Ash Twin and how the rest of these towers function in order to utilize most of the rest of the warps. There we go. We've aligned. We've made it. Remember, do not jump. Ugh. That's a fun bit when you get so excited when you get here the first time, because it takes some work to get to the Black Hole Forge, right? And if you're just used to jetpacking around, because if you push the jetpack button, that's where you end up, down there in the hole. Okay, I don't want to exit to the surface. Black Hole Forge. Yeah. Oh, I guess I just went the wrong way. That's all. Read this one? Black Hole Forge, left. I have a lot of signs out. But yeah, because we've used the controls on this cycle, the Black Hole Forge is plugged in, as it were. In we go. And there is oxygen here, which is beautiful. Gravity's going to be strange, because it's technically pulling us forward, so if we jump off here... They got to have gravity carpet all over the place. There's a statue here, too, but you can see it's not activated. The eyes are not doing anything. Regarding the warp towers on Ash Twin, does each tower have to be perfectly aligned with the center of the astral body? We don't need the alignment angle to be exact. It only needs to be within 5 degrees of the astral body's center. Of note, this gives us a slightly longer warp window. I imagine this window will last roughly several seconds. As such, any Nomai stepping onto the warp platform during the active window will be immediately warped. We'll need to be careful around the platform during the duration of this time because we don't want to be accidentally teleported. I enjoy precision as much as the next Nomai, but if, for example, a tower's base were to shift even slightly, that tower might no longer align with its astral body. I enjoy precision as much as the next Nomai, provided the next Nomai is not poke. So, it doesn't have to be aligned perfectly, but it does have to be aligned pretty well. Oh, here's another Ash Twin projection stone. I'm assuming we can just take this back outside and check it out. We can't read it in here, right? Oh, there's a scroll here. We should probably read the scroll and then take this outside afterwards. Ah, you can see here the timing from which it's aligned with Ash Twin once it's within 5 degrees. Right there. That's all the time it takes. That's how long the... Oh, wait, there's not a wall over here to read this on. The wall is outside as well. Oh, it's right here. I have not read this one yet. Great. Where am I taking the first black hole core? And where am I taking the remaining cores once they're ready? The white cores are for warp receivers. Each of the 6 receivers are being constructed at different locations. So these deliveries will be a greater pain in your cervical spine. Now that's very, very important information, because they're building these receivers. Remember that the Nomai expedition that crashed on Brittle Hollow built the first receiver between the White Hole Station and Brittle Hollow. So they're building 6 new ones, and we've seen several of them. We know there's one on Ember Twin. We know there's one here on Brittle Hollow. We know there's one on Giant's Deep. We know there's one on Timber Hearth. So that leaves 2 more places. They didn't build one on Dark Bramble. The only other 2 places to build are the Sun, which doesn't make sense. You can't build anything on the surface of the Sun, and Ash Twin, which also doesn't make sense because the tower itself is on Ash Twin. And if you need to point the tower at the center of an astral body, like, you can't point a tower on Ash Twin at the center of itself. That doesn't make any sense. The tower designs in the High Energy Lab on Ember Twin reveal each receiver's location. Ask Yarrow, he's familiar with them. We already checked that. All of the towers are being constructed on Ash Twin, so the black hole cores will go there. In that case, I'm leaving for delivery. I'll send Yarrow your regards. Okay, they just sent out what they needed to send. So the cores from here were a necessity as part of the Ash Twin project, getting all those warp towers in place. Yarrow believes he spotted a flaw in the warp tower designs. The 1 warp towers on Ash Twin will never activate because its warp receiver will never align overhead. Must be talking about the Ash Twin tower itself. It can't point at itself. Does your romantic interest think a warp tower's alignment point is its receiver? Does he not know that a warp tower always aligns with the center of its corresponding astral body? So that makes sense for everything we've seen except Ash Twin, because still the Ash Twin tower would have to be pointed at its own core. It'd have to be built upside down. That's not an unreasonable belief, but the receiver does have to be located on or in close orbit around the relevant body. That was your understanding of technology at first. What he doesn't realize is the Hourglass twins are so close together they function as a single astral body, with a shared alignment point in between them. Ah, so when we warp from the Ash Twin tower to Ember Twin, it's pointed at Ember Twin. By necessity, it's pointed at the center of Ember Twin, but it's also pointed at the midpoint between the 2 Hourglass twins. The pivot of gravity between them. And if the same thing is true for Ash Twin, then we should be able to get the Ash Twin tower to work in the exact same way. If the Ash Twin tower is pointed up at Ember Twin, it should function. The advanced warp core is ready to be installed in the central chamber of Ash Twin. I'm intrigued. Everyone here is excited to see it. Poke is insisting it's not quite done. Is everything well with the forge? The core's durability could be improved. I need more time. The core is finished. If she tells you otherwise, then she'll be finished as well. Alright, so they actually got Ash Twin up and running, apparently, with a warp core and everything. Alright, so the Black Hole Forge is pretty well done. If this should still be charged to send us back, should it not? Yes. So let's head back. Whoop. Great. Let's not go that way. Actually, I kind of want to go We'll go around. Not a lot of sand left on Ash Twin now. Just want to make it up to the bridge is all. Good. So, then... if this is the Ember Twin tower, this one must be the Ash Twin tower. Looks like my man was trying to get in there when it all went to pot. So once Ember Twin is directly overhead, we should be warped straight across. If we're in the tower across the way when Ember Twin is overhead, we'll warp to Ember Twin. If we're in this tower when Ember Twin is overhead, we'll warp to wherever the receiver on Ash Twin is. What concerns me is that there's a big gaping hole in the ceiling here. And when Ember Twin is overhead, that means, by definition, the sandfall will also be overhead. And I'm wondering if I will just get sucked by the sandfall through this big gaping hole in the roof and crash land on the surface of Ember Twin somewhere, along with the chunks of our flaming debris of the Waldo, if any has survived. Still, worth a try. Here we go. Here comes Ember Twin. There's the step. Yep, we just get sucked out from the sand. This is not terrific. Not terrific. Okay, okay. No, this is, this'll work. Touchdown. You know what? While we're here, we might as well. Oh, see, no, we can't even get back into the Sunless City through the hole. And we don't have a ship anymore, so... that's about it. Crunch. Oh, hey, is that the remains of our ship? No, that's a... it is! Hey, we've... the iPad's still here. I wish I'd found the other half of the ship, because that's where the medical kit is. That's pretty good that half of the ship survived. Crunch. Well, then. Okay, so that also means, though, that if we're in the Sun Tower, the one that's clogged up with all those cactuses, and the sun is directly overhead, we won't warp into the surface of the sun. We'll warp to wherever the receiving white hole core is. So we have a good lead now on how to get into places like the Sun Station. And again, there are two ways into Sun Station. If you are a mad lad, you can just fly the ship up and just land on it. That is basically impossible, and it is not what we're going to be doing. Okay, so we've made it to the Black Hole Forge. We've learned more about how the warp towers work. We've seen the diagram here. So the angles don't need to be exact. It only needs to be within 5 degrees, and it lasts for a couple seconds. So that's a clue on what to do about the sandfall that's over our head. The sandfall's directly over our head, we get sucked out, but what if we wait for the sandfall to kind of already start passing us by? If we're still in that 5-degree window, we might still be able to warp. We have... they learned how to evade the anglerfish by studying the fossil on Ember Twin. That's going to be useful information. There's an advanced warp core approved for installation in the central chamber of Ash Twin. Great. So an advanced warp core exists inside the Ash Twin project. Fantastic. Let's see if we can't find it. Quantum Moon is in orbit around the Hourglass Twins right now. A little concerning that the... Nah, we're far enough away from the sun. We're fine. So we need to find the twin towers, then. Which is a little tricky, because when you first... This early in the cycle, there's nothing on Ash Twin whatsoever. Everything is completely covered. Kaboom! Yeah, there goes Sun Station. I'll bet that's where that white hole malarkey is. Yeah, you know what? We're gonna actually stay in the ship for a minute. Let's get back out into orbit. Until we start seeing towers emerge. There's no reason to waste oxygen and fuel while we're just waiting for... And we'll get to see the sand spout from space here. Up there it goes. It started up. Nobody knows why this happens. Let's not crash. Good. So on the poles of the Ash Twin, like up here in our middle of our view, and then down at this other end, there should be another little pokey bit, are the big solar receivers that are drinking, like the same things we saw from the high energy lab, drinking solar power. To what end is still a mystery. We're going to get clobbered by Ember Twin if we stay right there. So let's not. So you can safely land by one of the energy towers, though, and maybe we should do that. Our ship will not get sucked up if we land by one of the towers. Near to the pole here. We don't want to land on top of the tower, though. Right here. Good spot. Good spot. Put me down. Great. We need, oh, there's the interloper, our old friend. I don't see any reason we should ever need to go back to the interloper again. We have pretty much exhumed all the knowledge from the evil ghost dimension? We never learn anything about where the interloper comes from. That's not a mystery we get to solve. We're not as smart as the Nomai. It's gonna head along the equator until we find some towers. Here's this will be the sun tower. Almost just crashed into it. In fact, there's no way into the sun tower. Although, if the sun tower is filled with sand, like completely filled with sand right now, that means there's a safe path over the top of those cacti that were blocking all the doors. If that's true, it implies that there will be like a window of a few moments where there is enough sand in the sun tower to provide safe passage across the cactus patch, but the sand will not be so low that the cacti are completely uncovered and therefore dangerous. In fact, shoutouts to PokeDude for sponsoring this video. If you liked the video and you want to see more, please tickle my thumb, leave a friendly comment, and ring my little bell.